guys, welcome to Cult Film and Review, the podcast where we discuss the films you love and no one else gets and see if they still hold up. Tonight, we're talking about the 1990 blockbuster Dick Tracy, a film with a whole lot of yellow and a whole lot of Warren Beatty. So let's start the show.
Your Hollywood system stole our sex and co-opted our violence, so there's nothing left for our kinds of movies.
I did not hit her. It's not true.
Klopex? Klopex. Klopex.
Up yours, baby.
Me and Bubba, my little brother, listen to you every night.
Where in the hell are we?
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
All right, guys, so we are here to talk about Dick Tracy. Came out in 1990, had a budget of $46 million, made $162 million, was filmed in L.A., and has a Rotten Tomatoes percent of 64. Now, if you don't know what it's about, it's based on a famed detective hero from comics. The story of Dick Tracy takes place in 1938, Chicago, where he's attempting to stop the crime boss, Big Boy Capri. This movie was picked by Kyle. You might be saying, who is Kyle? Well, Kyle is one of the co-hosts on here, and I'll introduce him now. Kyle Smith, how are you doing?
Hey, what's up?
And I just thought it would go naturally that way.
Felt unnatural.
It did not. It felt very unnatural. Also, the voice you just heard is Chris Willenbrecht.
Hey, what's up, guys?
And Michael Salustio.
Hi, everybody.
One other thing I want to say is please subscribe to our podcast. It helps us out a bunch. Please do that for us. Helps us climb the charts like Casey Kasem would say.
Yes.
How would he say it?
How would he say it?
Yeah.
Like, these kids are climbing the charts today.
Right there is how he would say
That's
it.
probably not at all what he sounds
No,
like.
that's
I don't
not.
remember at all what Casey
We're just
Kasem
going to go
sounds
with
like.
it for now on,
It's
though.
that's
great.
It's my favorite impression that
Do it.
we've ruined so far.
Yeah.
So please subscribe to our podcast. It downloads automatically on whatever listening device that you have, and it helps us out a bunch. So we're talking about Dick Tracy. This was Kyle's pick. Kyle, why did you pick Dick Tracy of all the films you could pick?
Of all the films out there, I've always loved Dick Tracy ever since I was a kid. I always thought it was a really fun movie, and I was really excited just to watch it again, and see what everybody here kind of thought about it and see what their impressions would be. So,
Had anyone not seen this movie before? Or everyone saw it as like a kid or child or a young adult, as Mike would be.
I think I was a young adult. 1990? No, I was 10.
Yeah.
That's young adult, right?
10's the answer.
I'm old enough to read The Hunger Games at that point in time.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I think everybody here has seen it, right?
Yeah, I think
definitely.
we have all seen it.
What do you?
yeah.
Let me ask you this question. What do you remember more? Do you remember the marketing of this film more, or do you remember the film itself more?
Wow. Good question.
I remember the toys. I remember his watch.
Yeah, and that's probably the one thing that sits with me still is wanting that watch so badly.
How bad did you want it?
Or you
Oh, it's so bad.
I want
I
it
just see that
so-
watch so bad.
I want it so bad I almost beat the shit out of my little friend because he had one. I was jealous.
Your little
So
friend.
Your little friend.
Yeah, my little friend.
The
When I
story's
was,
getting weird.
yeah, this was
so
like
weird.
2 weeks ago. No, I really did want it, and he got one, and I was pissed, and I cried.
And I had one. I had one. I used to wear it at Grandma's house. I always
Did
had
you?
that fucking thing on. Yeah.
I would have been really
Did you guys
bummed if
fight
I
when it
noticed.
was Thanksgiving?
Who?
You and Chris?
We never
think
had
so.
Thanksgiving together, I don't think.
What?
Actually, I take that back. Thanksgiving's always been at my parents' house.
And Christmas was always, for me.
There you go.
Yeah, it was always at
Well,
at
isn't
my
that
house.
special?
But I don't know if I just had a little moment there. I don't think I necessarily remember like the marketing per se. I remember the gadget of the watch and like Kyle almost fucking fell over. I remember all that stuff, and I remember like the commercials for all like the toys and like the outfit and all that stuff that you could buy. But the movie was really probably what I remember more.
I think I remember the marketing more. I honestly think I remember the toys and the gadgets and stuff like
Did
that
you have
more.
any of the toys?
Oh, yeah, I did. I had the prune face, which looked much better. I think I had them all. Like, I really do think I had them all. I had all the toys.
Were those like McDonald's toys or
No,
KB toys?
No,
that you
like,
had that
like KB toys. Like they were,
Were
like 4 or 5 inch figures.
Oh, shit.
They had they were all bow legged. Like they'd been riding horses for hours. They're all bow legged. And they had like the cheap pop off legs. You know, like the legs that were on the ball joints. You remember those in toys?
Yeah.
It had those
Yep.
legs
Uh-huh.
that would just pop
Pop
off.
those off all the
Yeah.
time.
And then you break it. Yeah, that was Dick Tracy toys, and they had big hands and guns and stuff like that. They were like,
When guns were toys.
yeah, they were okay. I mean, they weren't cool because they were so bow legged.
Yeah.
I think
didn't
they
like bow-legged
repurposed them
toys.
for like City Slickers toys 2 years later.
Would that be amazing?
They
if
even
they
had toys. Shit.
If they had City Slickers.
missed
They
out.
did. They did. Everybody knows the curly.
No way,
I'm just
dude.
joking. I have no
Daniel
fucking
Stern
idea.
toy.
Yeah.
Fucking
Daniel
Billy
Stern
Crystal.
toys.
Yeah, insecure middle-aged men. Action figures.
Nothing sells toys like insecure middle-aged men in the desert.
I just don't know if me and my wife are getting along anymore.
Are we gonna get a divorce? I don't know. I'm cheating on my wife with the.
That's like his accessory. He just holding divorce papers.
Yeah.
he comes with a cow.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe the marketing was important.
It definitely was. I mean, the marketing was, they did it in the style of Batman. So Batman came out in 1989, was a huge hit. And it used this aggressive marketing style of basically like the action figures and toys.
It was everywhere.
Everywhere.
It was in the air you breathed.
Yeah, and they did the same. They did the same thing with Dick Tracy.
Well, if you get a McDonald's toy, like you're blown up.
Do
dude.
they really do that anymore?
We've talked
we
about
had this conversation.
Yeah.
Did we? Did we have this conversation?
We figured out that it's apps now.
Yeah, it's apps. Don't worry
Yeah,
about
I think
it.
it was it Josie and the Pussycats? I can't remember what episode.
Why would it be Josie and the
Yeah,
Pussycats?
I
Yeah,
think
Was it
so,
the
no.
It
marketing
definitely
thing?
wasn't
Sorry
that
about-
one.
Oh, it wasn't? Oh, I thought maybe because
No,
of
it
the
was
marketing.
it was Adam's Family because we were talking about the video
that's
game.
Right. That's right. That's
You know
right.
what I forgot to bring up with Adam's Family? They had a cartoon, but we'll talk about
We
that
talked
later.
about it.
You know what I forgot to talk about? They actually had an NES game for this movie.
For
They
Dick
did,
Tracy?
and a Sega Genesis one.
No, it was called Friday the 13th. But I mean, no, they did have a Dick Tracy one.
Yeah,
though.
they did at Sega Genesis
Really?
as well.
Yeah.
That
I,
sounds like
I
it'd
want
be
to find
fun.
it. I want to find it.
I did
The
not play.
NES one was actually, it's not great, but
It's a side scroller,
I remember
right?
playing a lot of it.
Like a platformer.
And like overhead, you drove the car,
Yeah.
and you had to like go to like different areas and like solve clues and shit like that.
Car, oh, the
yeah.
the taxi cab looking car.
Yeah,
That's
like
how the NES was.
Studebaker
The Sega
kinda thing.
Genesis was more of like a shooter side scroller in the vein of like Terminator
Right.
or RoboCop kind of. And
I
then
don't know
there
if
was
that-
the overhead driving chase.
I don't know if this would be a video game young and me would want to play.
I want to check it out.
It wasn't a great video game. You wouldn't be missing anything. I own Dick Tracy.
I own him.
I own him.
He's mine.
I own that bitch.
I own Dick Tracy.
What were you gonna say, Chris? You were gonna say something.
No,
Your
I
mouth was
wasn't.
moving.
I wasn't. I was just wondering about the movie.
What about the movie?
Where we were going with that conversation.
It's just our opening banter where we can talk about whatever we want, Chris. You know what? With that, we're gonna take a break because Chris needs.
Yeah,
Chris
I'm not
Chris
even
needs-
Chris
upset.
forgot the
No.
format of the show.
Yeah, Chris needs to realize
I just
how
I,
this
I
show.
kept
I
hearing,
am in charge.
Sorry.
I said we are going on a break.
I kept hearing about video games, so I kind of lost track of where we were with the movie.
We'll be
conversation.
right back.
Hello?
You're breaking and entering, you know.
Sorry.
Sit down. Aren't you gonna arrest me?
If I were going to arrest you, I'd have done it by now.
Then what are you up to, honey?
I think Lips Manless is dead. And I want you to tell me who killed him. Or maybe you weren't on his side. Whose side are you on?
The side I'm always on. Mine.
No grief for Lips?
I'm wearing black underwear.
We are back and we're talking about Dick Tracy from 1990. Had a pretty big ass budget.
I don't think it started that way either.
No. So the only reason they agreed to do this was if it didn't go over budget, and if it did go over budget, they were going to take from Beatty's producer, directing, and something else fees.
I think from his back end as well.
yeah,
Yeah.
they were going to take from it.
They're
if
going to
he
recoup
did.
from that whatever they make. And
Basically,
then,
did this movie for free.
Basically, he did because he went well over budget, $48 million. I think it was supposed to be originally like $12 million or something.
I think
like
it was
that.
25 and it
No.
ended at 100.
25 was it?
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
sounds
yeah.
right. I knew there was a 2 in there.
Yeah. I think it was 25 and I think it ended at 100 million when it was all said and done.
Wow.
Wait. It did? 100 million?
Yeah, because
100 million was the budget.
So what's the 46 million?
46 was just for the film, and then the 60 in marketing.
Okay.
60
Oh,
million
yeah.
in marketing.
Yeah, they never roll that into.
Yeah.
Obviously. Bob.
So, and then this movie is actually pretty successful because you can figure, okay, it made 60 million, which is not that successful, but hey, you made 160 million.
Hey, it's better than losing 60
And
million.
then, well, that's the thing. They made another 60 million on rentals.
Yeah.
So total 120 mil.
Yeah, 120 mil total. So
Okay.
they
Ah,
made
good.
decent money with this movie.
Absolutely.
it was a success, I would say. I mean, so what? He went over budget. He obviously made it back.
Let me ask you this question. Would you say it's a cult film, though?
I would not say it's a cult film.
Why?
I don't know. Maybe it was just too. I almost hate to say it, but it's too well recognized and publicized. Like at the time that it came out for it to be a cult film. I feel like it has its like people that say, "Oh yeah, I like that movie," or that was good back when I saw it back then. But like, I don't think I really see like a rabid cult for this. Maybe I'm missing it.
No, I would agree with that. I don't think. I mean, I don't. I picked it, but yeah, I still don't. I don't think it's a cult film. I still think it could have the potential to, especially if like I feel like this could be one of those movies where like somebody writes an article about it and it blows the fuck up again or something, because there's enough people out there who have fond memories of the film that they could easily get back into it. But it doesn't have it doesn't have this like rabid fan base, I don't think.
There's a couple things that could help it. I think to achieve that would be maybe a talking gorilla. If it was more about communications.
Yeah. Lasers, maybe.
Yeah. And
Diamond lasers.
Diamond lasers. If it had more of that in it. And
Great gorillas.
Yeah. Karen Ross.
It definitely had too little of Karen Ross.
No, it wasn't enough.
No, I don't think it's a cult film either. And I don't know if it does even have I think there are fans of this film, but I don't know if there's a dedicated, even small fan base to this film.
It's got the same fan base as like Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves.
Oh, wait a minute.
Like you
wait
go,
a
you
minute.
go back and you talk about it and you're like, hey, you remember Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves? And they're like, yeah, that was a pretty solid film. I mean, that Bryan Adams tune was pretty tough.
It's all about Bryan Adams.
Bryan Adams was pretty good. No, really, what else? I mean, like, it is that type of film. I don't know a lot of people that hate this film.
Yeah.
But I also don't know anybody that raves about this film.
Well, because they haven't seen it in a while.
It's just a...
They're going to go back and rewatch it. They'll be raving all day.
That's what I'm talking about.
Not true.
Now, the question we're going to try to address is whether or not this film holds up.
Okay.
I don't know. Like, cult? Like, we're trying to define what that even means. And like, it was super mainstream. I would say maybe just because of the look and style of the film, it could be looked at as a cult film or maybe slightly offbeat or different. But
yeah, I think so, because it is really like surrealist. The way it's shot, the way the colors are, like it has the potential to have a following because it is a very unique film. Even though it was critically successful, it is a very unique looking film.
It's a very stylized film.
I will say this, that where I think where it's going to miss out and where it's not going to give its audience is something I said the first go around.
What does that mean?
What does that mean?
When I was telling my wife.
Yeah, exactly.
Just kidding.
Was that
I was talking to my cat.
Is the reason that I think this has a hard time finding an audience is it's technically it's pretty sound, but I feel like it is a little bit soulless.
Yeah.
It doesn't have. There's something in this movie where I don't get the heart aspect of it, where it doesn't for some reason. I don't gravitate towards this movie, and I think that's for a lot of people. I think a lot of people, like you say, see this movie and go, yeah, and then but there's not something that make them go, yeah. You know what I mean? Like, yeah,
So ridiculous.
Yeah.
I've never heard that. You're right. Woo, woo, dick.
But no, like it's just, you know what I mean? Like I was saying that earlier. I've never heard anyone say you've never seen Dick Tracy. Well, you gotta see Dick Tracy.
But I
would have said that to you if we'd known each other.
I would have done
sooner.
Like I said, it's one of those films that I feel like it was such a big blockbuster in the time that we grew up, that if we knew somebody that grew up during this time and they didn't see it, it's like, what did your parents do?
But Mike, we're also talking about does it still hold up? And I don't think that a younger generation is. I don't even think they're going to latch onto this. Film.
Honestly, I'd like to show this to somebody from a younger generation. I'd like to see what they have to say, because they've only known the superhero films that we've seen so far, like the Avengers and the whole Marvel thing, DC. It'd be interesting to say, hey, there was a time where like shit wasn't really that dark. Even though Avengers is not particularly dark, but like it's not very stylized.
Yeah.
Avengers is very like they kind of modernize it up. They try to make the characters a little bit more real than they are in the comics. I'd like to show them a film like this and be like, okay, so this is a film from a comic strip that happened in the 1930s, 40s.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like what do you think of that?
Well,
maybe they might like it.
They
might love it
because it's put in the 1930s.
Yeah.
it almost feels kind of timeless, or like almost completely removed from, a newer generation or even our generation.
Yeah.
And because it was so big, it just it does feel like a fantasy world. It doesn't feel so grounded in reality.
I mean, it is in the 30s, but they've got wristwatch like communicators, which that's a futuristic piece of tech right there.
Yeah, they definitely didn't have that.
Yeah, so it's in the same vein as at Batman, where it's like it's old times, but there's new tech. So
yeah, I mean a little less. I feel like
it's certainly a lot less.
Yeah. Batman's a weird. We'll get into that, but anyways,
I think this is it's in a weird limbo place though too. Is well, because it's like it's so bad it's good. Like you gotta see Dick Tracy because it's so fucking terrible. You know what I mean? And it's not so good that you're like, you got to see Dick Tracy because it's so fucking good.
See, but again, going back, I would tell somebody to see Dick Tracy because I thought it was good, or I thought it was like interesting, or kind of different from what somebody would normally see.
Would that be from your nostalgia memories of it, or would that be from this viewing of it?
That would be from nostalgic reasons, because I obviously grew up watching this film. But also even now, even today, I feel like somebody could watch it and be entertained.
Do you think that maybe sticking too much to the source material maybe hurt this movie in the time that it came out in 1990 a little bit? I mean, not critically. Obviously, it did pretty well. I mean, it won some awards and stuff like that. But I mean, as far as if you look at the other movies that came out around the same time that maybe not as big as this movie, have more of a legacy.
I feel like this it went along with a trend that was going on at this time, which was like the 90s were like this big thing where all the 1930s, the 1930s style was really big. Like we had Who Framed Roger Rabbit, we had The Rocketeer, we had like the Batman films. Like that was going on for a while. Even Darkman to some extent, like he's running around in like a top coat, or like not a top coat, but a trench coat. And like a fedora. Even he has a really weird kind of like 30s feel.
Well,
to
he's burned all over his body.
Yeah, just like everybody.
He's burned all over
just
his
like
body.
everybody in the 30s were. The Great Depression. It was really bad for everybody.
Yeah,
a lot of fire. But no, Shadow, Phantom.
Yeah,
like these are all films in the 90s. There was a real and it all really starts with like Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Who did it?
I don't know.
No one knows. Well, actually, it was Christopher Lloyd. But no, that was a film that I feel like was so popular, and that whole style came out that it just kind of continued for a while.
Yeah,
and then it just kind of died out a little bit. Like things got real dark in like the mid 90s.
Well, even though at this time, like Darkman's 1990, and here's a movie that's at a lower budget and definitely a darker film. And I think the legacy of Darkman is probably more prominent now than Dick Tracy, especially in the cult world.
Yeah, but that wasn't that movie.
Wasn't
that movie more critically panned when it came out, though?
No, that was pretty critically acclaimed. I think the first Darkman is.
Yeah.
I think what killed that series is the sequels that came out after it. But
okay.
It was still a Sam Raimi film, and people were still into Evil Dead any more than I guess they were nowadays.
But I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like the stylized, because here again, the 90s is where we kind of take this cultural shift also from the 80s, which were a little more happier, and then we're getting into not so much grunge rock yet, but we're getting into grunge rock. We are getting into gangster rap. We are getting into like the harder side, and then you kind of have Dick Tracy there, which is a little more on the brighter side, I would say, and cartoony.
Well, maybe it's like just a way for them to kind of harken back to like the golden days of cinema.
I don't think though, like even though this was a success, I'm just saying like why, in my opinion, it hasn't lived on or is not living on as well.
Because I think it, like I said, I think it falls in the middle of those films.
Yeah,
it's not as it's better than like a Shadow or the Phantom.
Yeah, well,
easily.
Come on, hold on.
Or Steel.
Billy Zane.
Well, Steel,
Alec Baldwin.
Yeah.
Billy Zane.
Right.
Alec Baldwin, please.
Yeah.
But
Warren Beatty, who?
It's not as good as the Batman films.
No.
Not quite as good as the Batman
well,
films. And
the early Batman films.
Yeah, they are. The Tim Burton ones. Let's say that. And it's not quite as good as like. I mean, I don't know, the Rocketeer. What is it? Like, who talks about the Rocketeer anymore?
Oh, a lot of people.
Yeah, Rocketeer
really?
is fucking awesome. There's a sequel coming out.
You think? Really?
Rocketeer.
Yeah, they're making a sequel.
Rocketeer. Rocketeer is more. There's Rocketeer action figures. You can go to the Toys R Us and get
right now.
Yes.
I can go get a Rocketeer action figure.
Yes, you can.
Wow.
Yes.
I had no
they
idea.
made an NES game. Did you know?
Yeah.
I played it.
Friday the 13th.
Fell for it again.
I'm just glad I can hear you this time.
What are you talking about? We've been able to hear him the whole time.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about.
Does Dick Tracy does it suffer from the too many villains syndrome of that we've seen now in movies more than I think than in the 90s, the early
Definitely
later
like the
90s.
early. You know what's weird? Going back to Sam Raimi, definitely like that Spider-Man. Spider-Man 3 had that problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, actually, that's a. You brought up a good point that I think is going to work against you.
It's going to prove my point.
Because comic book movies now, they definitely suffer from too many villains because the villains aren't characters. They're pretty flat and they're pretty boring. Whereas this one, every villain like had a fucking look and had a personality. They had a unique characterizations for each of them that were mapped out and acted accordingly. So I don't think it suffered from too many characters. I just what are you pointing at me?
Let me ask you this then.
Do you
Do you think it hurt Warren Beatty and his portrayal of Dick Tracy? Because here you go, you have more side characters, in my opinion, who are more entertaining just by their look and their characters, because their characters are such oddballs, than straight character Dick Tracy, who's...
No, I don't think it hurt him.
Nah.
I do.
Yeah.
I do. I think you're wrong.
And I don't think it suffers from the multiple villain thing because the villains are actually working against themselves
Yeah.
a lot more than Dick Tracy is working against them. Like, Dick Tracy never goes against Lips Manalus.
No.
Like, it's just he dies real quick. And they show it even with the poker scene.
Yeah.
Like, those guys die before Dick Tracy even shows up on the screen.
Well, Dick Tracy just seems to be pretty much obsessed with Big Boy. I mean, like...
Well, because Big Boy's the one guy making the big move.
Well, he likes Andre 3000.
What?
What?
Andre 3000.
Big boy.
Oh, God.
I was
Oh,
thinking
jeez.
I didn't get it.
Yuck, yuck.
Sorry, big boy. Go ahead.
I don't, but I mean, I don't think that Dick Tracy's character was lessened because there were so many villains. I think the villains were great. I think
the villains overshadow.
I don't think so. I don't think you get enough of them. I mean, like you're jumping around from different villain to different villain, and like Big Boy's the one that kind of ties them all together. But like you're mostly with Dick Tracy, like most of the time.
And he's still, in my opinion, he's still overshadowed by side characters.
I don't think so because the characters create a really great like contrast because his belief in the system and his belief in law and being right and being true is even more glaringly obvious when it's put against these really wacky weird characters. His character shines, I think, more, and it helps to like make him more believable.
He's set apart immediately because everybody looks like a bunch of goons, and he looks like a
normal person,
a handsome detective. You know,
he's
like,
the only person besides the women that look normal in this movie.
Yep.
How much does that go into Warren Beatty's ego? Like, get over yourself, Warren. You gotta ugly everybody else up just to feel better about yourself.
No,
in this movie.
is taken from the.
This is from the comics.
Sure, no, tell yourself that. That's why you wanted to
do
do
exactly,
it so bad.
Stylistically, exactly from the comics.
He said, "What movie's gonna make me feel the prettiest?" I'm gonna do Dick Tracy.
That's the one I'll
want. Play him myself because who's prettier than me?
And you know who's gonna want me the whole movie? Madonna.
Yeah.
The biggest pop icon.
Works out for him.
Does.
In real life,
He
too.
dated her in real life.
He did. He really did.
Do you think with all the makeup effects being applied to the villains, because we said each one of them has a unique look, not only that, a literal name to go with their unique look.
Yeah.
Do you think that kind of oversaturated the screen a little bit?
No, I thought it made it more interesting.
Yeah.
It made these characters more into characters, you know?
I got confused, honestly, because it's like
there's a lot of them.
I'm like, yeah, there's a lot. I'm like, big face, thumbs, 88 keys, slap nuts.
What is this?
Great
Sneaky
I love
Pete.
slap nuts.
Sneaky
He's the best
Sneaky
one on
Pete.
there. Sneaky Pete.
Sneaky Pete, stinky feet. There's so many.
I mean, I don't think there was. There was
There's
a lot.
There's a lot of
but-
them, but they don't all get the same screen time. It's flat top. It's itchy.
Yeah.
Itchy.
Yeah, itchy.
Flat top and itchy are the most prominent.
Flat
two.
Top's makeup I enjoy. Prune Faces it looks like dog poop.
I think it's scary.
It is pretty terrible.
Well,
I remember being like a little unnerved by him.
And then there's all
when I
these
was a
like
kid.
other sub characters who have these weird like squarey looking faces.
They all have like a weird face. All the mob, all the bad guys look like bad guys.
But even some of the cops, not his partners, but like some of the cops have like over exaggerated noses or ears and they were always like, "What's up, listens?"
Yeah.
What's that smells? That was the names.
Yeah, there was that was the only thing that bothered me about the movie was like how literal they were, like with the names representing some kind of facial thing about the person.
Those guys did exist in the comics.
They
You
did. They
can't
did.
change it. Like we're gonna call him Ant-Man because he's small. Like yeah, we're gonna call him Ant-Man because he's fucking small.
Do you think that Warren Beatty, as just his look as a person, not the character that he played, do you think that
You're being very specific.
I feel like I need to be. Does Warren Beatty fit the character of a hero? Does he look like a hero?
Yeah,
to you?
he's definitely a Dick Tracy. He's definitely a dick.
He looks like your everyman cop who's just a little handsomer.
A little handsomer?
Yeah.
It's a lot handsomer. He's
he's
like
a lot handsomer.
he's like
in a world full of like
scumbags.
malformed faces.
Yeah. A world full of flat tops and
a
prunes.
dude that's like a human bulldog. He's doing all right.
yeah, I think he's too pretty for me.
Nah, I think he makes it. He makes it work.
I think he's cool.
He is Dick Tracy.
I think he's fucking cool.
I don't think he. I see. I think he.
him with a fucking Tommy gun, badass.
No, man. I
Bad
just don't feel
fucking
that way.
ass. That yellow trench coat with a fucking Tommy gun just swaying in the wind. Just
I know, and every
Fucking
time
awesome.
every time I see it, I just see like high school theater kid playing that role. Like the complete. I don't know why. It just sticks out to me that this is just. It feels like a.
I don't know.
Like a
I
play?
wouldn't agree with that.
Yeah.
It must have just been the sets that
It was
made
the
you think
set-
that, and the
sets-
lighting.
The sets looked more like something you would
Well,
see
no,
at
it's
stage
just.
production.
I don't like it. I don't
like
like.
a high school's production of Hamlet. That's what the place. the
I don't
sets
like,
looked like.
Warren Beatty's acting in this. I wish it was Ned.
No, you don't. You don't wish it was Ned.
I think Ned would have played a better Dick.
No one ever wishes it's Ned.
No, that's true. Ned's not as attractive. But Ned was in a bigger comic book movie anyways, same year.
Warren Beatty's smooth. I mean,
What did you say?
Ned was in a bigger comic book movie the same year.
Oh, yeah.
Captain America.
What?
what 1990?
I think
Yeah.
you were going to say Superman, but
No.
okay. Yeah, sure. Captain America 1990. Let's
Yeah,
go with that one.
Same year. They came out the same year.
Ned was doing Superman, and
No, Ned was doing Captain America. Huge
Captain
film.
America. Yeah,
1990. We reviewed it. Check it out at www.cultfilminterview.com. He's like a wet noodle. He's like I'm not impressed with Warren Beatty in this film.
Oh, I totally am.
He could have
Yeah.
lifted one weight.
Dude, why? He didn't need to. He's a cop. Cops aren't ripped. Not every cop is The Rock.
I'm sorry.
He can run his ass
I was
off.
gonna say, have
Yeah.
you not seen Arnold Schwarzenegger in any movie he's played a cop? Kindergarten Cop? Kindergarten Cop?
Yeah, and that's the most realistic portrayal of a cop I've ever seen.
And this movie's not supposed to be realistic. It's supposed to be a cartoon.
Exactly.
Which is why
Which
it
is
makes
why he
so
could be
much more sense.
30
that
pounds?
It makes so much more sense for him to be like the straight
Well,
character
what is
in a
this
world
30
of
pounds
fucking
thing?
weirdos.
He's not like a shrimp.
He's got small, tiny arms.
He's
You
the
can see them in
swift,
his big poofy
smooth
shirt.
detective.
Yeah.
You know, they wanted
He's
to
Joe
get that.
fucking cool.
I don't find him as Joe Cool. I don't. He doesn't have the sense like he doesn't have machismo. He doesn't have
Every time he comes around the
He doesn't-
room, all the other cops are like, "Oh, Dick Tracy, thank
Yeah,
God you're
because they're
here."
acting. I'm saying like he to me, Warren Beatty to me does not have the it factor as far as an actor.
I don't know
goes.
who
Yeah, he
could
definitely
you
didn't have
imagine?
any lasting ability in Hollywood, for Christ's
Well,
sake.
no, I mean I'm not saying
Jesus
he's not.
Christ.
I'm not saying he's not talented behind a camera.
How tall would you think he is?
That's like 6'4".
6'4", and he's a shrimp. Jeez, he's 6'2". You were off.
No, how much do you weigh? How many kilograms?
I don't think.
Why do we have?
I don't think IMDb
answer me
shows
this.
weight.
Answer me this. Does it tell
Check
you?
Wikipedia. That will have his
Does
weight.
it tell you how much he benches? How much does he bench?
Yeah, how much
Yeah,
he
it's
press,
actually here.
bro?
He
Yeah.
actually won the 1992
bench pressing
weightlifting
contest
championship. Yeah.
at the seniors' home.
He was 50 when he did
I'll
this.
say that the man looks flawless skinned
He's
for
like 50,
51.
51
this time. Yeah.
And this movie, he looks fantastic. He does not like.
He looks like he's
age.
40. He just turned 40. That's how he looks.
He looked like he was 40 for like ever. He's one of those actors who's always looked 40, but good 40.
Always
Yeah.
been 40.
Yeah, like a healthy 40.
Like an early
Yeah,
40.
like I'd not eat a lot of fast food. Gonna die 40. You know, like I work out, take care of myself, and have a nice car 40.
Yeah, his mortgage is paid up.
Yeah, not like
he's
Not
paying
like-
his bills.
not like I have my windows taped with duct tape 40. You know, not that 40.
No, he's old school 40.
All right, let's take a break. When we come back, we'll talk more about Dick Tracy right after this.
Pruneface, you tossed a firebomb in my car one night. Give me a lot of trouble, but I forgive you. Volker, you put 3 slugs into me, but I lived. I forgive you, too. I owe everybody at this table a little something, but I forgive all of you. Why? Because I put the past in the past. However, a boss who cannot see the future becomes a liability to everyone concerned.
What are you, a fortune teller? What do you mean, the future?
All right, guys, we're back, and we are talking about the 1990 blockbuster film Dick Tracy. Dick
Tracy.
Tracy.
There's a lot of dick jokes in this movie, huh?
Yeah. There's one.
There's one.
Well,
like one.
I don't think there's.
Did I
only
call you
one.
Dick?
Yeah, that's it. That's the only one.
I think there's some ways that Madonna uses the
Madonna
phrase
says some
to-
filthy stuff
Yeah,
in
that's
this
what
movie.
I'm saying. Like, I think they're utilizing that name.
You know what? How about that Al Pacino? I don't think we gave him enough props right
We
now.
should, though.
And we should give him
yeah.
a lot.
He's a
more.
great villain in this.
He's probably the saving grace for me in this movie, as far as like acting goes. Even though it's just Al Pacino playing people's impression of Al Pacino.
Yeah, he pretty much is. He pretty much is. Yeah,
is what he's playing, but it's fantastic and funny.
Oh, it's great. Yeah, he's such a memorable villain, and he's just so over the top. And probably one of my favorite scenes with him is like when he's like going through the dance number with the girls.
Oh my
It's
god,
so ridiculous.
That's what I said. I feel bad for Madonna because she was getting the shit slapped out of her by him, and I feel like he was like. I imagine he didn't tell her what he was
he's very
going to do.
He's method in this role. You can
It's because
obviously
her
tell.
reactions looked like legit. Like she was like legitimately like, "What the fuck is this guy doing? Why does he keep hitting me?" You know?
Yeah.
So-
Al Pacino on set said he would only eat walnuts. That's how method.
Really?
He went that method?
Yeah.
Yeah, he only ate walnuts for 3 weeks straight.
Wow.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's why he got that hunchback. That's not
Yeah,
actually
that
prosthetic.
happens.
That's pretty
They
intense.
eat too much walnuts.
That's
to
a,
get
that's a
hunchback.
walnut hunch.
So that's what happened to that guy in Notre Dame.
Got one growing out of his back. Shit.
Yeah, right. That's exactly what happened. He was on an all walnut diet.
That's why you don't do that.
That's all he did.
That's why I won't do that
He
paleontology.
kind of look. You know what he kind of looks like? He kind of looks like John Waters.
I think he looks like Sean. I think he looks like Sean Penn.
Like
I
he's like
just
a
don't-
cross between Sean Penn.
I didn't
and
see
John
the Sean
Waters.
Penn. What scene?
All of it.
Just
He looks like Sean Penn, Mystic River with a freaking mustache, paper thin mustache on.
So it's just the mustache,
so
huh?
weathered
Yeah,
Penn.
not a young Sean Penn. We're not talking young Sean
A
Penn.
beaten Sean Penn.
a beaten down Penn.
We're talking
That'd
Life
never
of
happen.
Walter Mitty.
He even played the role kind of like Sean Penn.
He played the role like Al Pacino.
Yeah.
Maybe,
Yeah,
I think
totally.
Sean Penn
No,
is
it's bad.
copying Al Pacino. if
Exactly.
anything.
He did-
Exactly. That's what I said.
Yeah, it
He
is.
played the role like Kevin Spacey imitates him in the role.
Do you think the penguin was at all
Son of a Woman?
inspired by this?
Maybe. What's that?
The
I was.
the
You
penguin.
know what? I was thinking when I was watching this. He looks exactly like the Penguin from the original Adam West Batman. That's what he looks like.
This movie is very much Adam West Batman. This whole movie is. It gives you that feel of corniness. It
has
does.
has Warren Beatty ever done voiceover for any Batman?
Probably not.
I think he would be a great choice because I hear it in his voice.
He definitely had a Batman voice, and hey, I'm a detective.
yeah.
But it wasn't that manly. It was,
Oh my God.
It wasn't.
What do you
It was not-
mean?
it was
you
not
keep
that
shooting
manly.
down Beatty for his manliness,
I
but
have to
you
call
know.
a spade a spade.
Yeah, Beatty's no baby. You know. No, he really is. I mean, he's a man. He's a man.
I think of Warren Beatty as more of an old lady sex symbol than I think of as a man's man.
An old lady sex symbol.
Yeah, like for old ladies. Like old ladies are like, that Warren Beatty.
He's 51.
I would double click my mouse to that
She
Warren
probably
Beatty.
would be, but you know what? Like that's gonna be like your wife when your child grows up.
She's gonna be
She's
into
gonna be
Warren Beatty.
like Leonardo DiCaprio, and your son's gonna be like, what? That old dude that's in
Oh
those
no,
films?
exactly. No, I don't disagree with that, but that doesn't mean like that. That's exactly what
I thought you said his wife's gonna become
that's
Warren Beatty.
my wife
When
becomes
she-
Warren Beatty.
Yeah,
That'd be
when she gets
terrible.
older, she's gonna look more and more like
For the
Warren
record,
Beatty.
Cody's wife doesn't look anything like Warren Beatty.
Can I call her Beatty Face? Will that work?
Face.
Like this
Beatty
movie? Would it be
face.
as
Can
literal
you
as
just
that?
make sure that I'm around when you do that?
What I'm trying to do is tell you that he does do a voice for Dick Tracy, but it's like this. It's a weird whisper. It's like almost like it's.
It's the quiet cool. Come
He
on,
did.
dude.
He almost did like. Who took it too far was what's his name when he did Batman?
Yeah.
Bale?
Bale.
Yeah, Bale.
Yeah.
It was like what Bale should have been.
Yeah, it was a subtle like little
Yeah.
little grungeal crackle to his
Yeah.
voice. I just made a word up.
Grungeal.
Yeah.
Grungeal.
I've never heard grungeal. Is that a Lord of the Rings character?
That's how my underwear. That's how my underwear gets if I wear it for too long.
Dwarves.
It's fucking
Oh,
grungeal.
grungeal.
Yeah, my underwear gets real grungeal.
It sounds like a troll.
I think that's the villain in Stranger Things. The grungeal. We got to get down the upside down and kill the grungeal.
Did you say you got to get to the underside of the grungeal?
All right, so I want to talk about some technical aspects of this movie. First, let's start off with the music.
Great.
Fantastic.
Danny Elfman.
Danny
What are you going to
Elfman.
go wrong?
Danny Elfman.
Can't go wrong.
I felt like I was watching Batman.
Yeah.
Does the guy does he make bad music though? Does he?
I feel like Danny Elfman was kind of like this is the song I was gonna use for Batman, but we went with this other one because that was better.
I think he made
It's
it
just
too.
like the B-sides.
Yeah.
I think
Just a little less.
he made it too energetic for lethargic Beatty.
What?
I don't.
No.
Dude, what are you
Yeah.
talking
You're being
about? So hard
Yeah.
on Beatty.
Warren Beatty did a fantastic job
Yeah.
as Dick Tracy.
No, and the movie itself, the pacing is too slow for that powerful.
That's not
music.
his fault.
Gets y'all pumped.
Actually,
he
it is
directed
his
it
fault.
and
He
produced
directed it. He did. You're right. He did direct it.
and starred in it.
Did he edit it?
He should have.
Yeah.
So I could blame him too.
But I
for
think he
that.
did good on all his
Music
roles,
is the
honestly.
score is
Like,
fantastic.
The direction is great, honestly.
I think that-
it's
It's
Yeah.
on point. He took a lot of big risks by only using 7 colors for the palette, by keeping the camera completely fucking static in shots to create a better to basically make a comic panel on screen and have all the action exist within. These are expensive, bold moves, but I think it paid off.
Well, but so, what's a movie though?
What?
What's a movie?
Don't say it's a motion picture.
It's a goddamn motion picture.
Yeah, but you know what? There was motion in the.
Yeah,
there
there
was
is
motions
motion.
in the picture though.
a car blew up.
I'm saying that it gave it a thing that I will say that I think maybe it makes it feel soulless for me is that it does feel stale. The color palette limiting and stuff. It's hard to be creative when you're so limited.
I don't think so.
I think
Yeah. Wait. What are you talking about?
I disagree. I feel
the
like
film is highly stylized. To say that it has no style because
No, I'm saying
of that.
I'm saying it does have style, but it's sterile. Does that make sense?
no.
Yeah, I don't agree.
I don't feel the life behind it.
It's not fast paced enough for you.
It's,
I don't
I honestly,
feel the
I
life
think,
behind the
I
art of
honestly
it.
think the only problem
I see the art of it.
that you have with this film is the pacing. I feel like if it was
Nah, that's not
cut
the only
a
problem.
little better, if it was cut a little faster.
That's not the only problem. I don't like Warren Beatty in the film. I don't like him as the character. I don't. I have a lot of problems with it. The script is. I don't know. It's not my favorite. The weird thing I find weird is they throw you that I actually kind of like about this movie too is that you're just supposed to assume you know Dick Tracy. There's really no origin story. There's no origin story given for
I
Dick
don't know
Tracy
that
in this
Dick
movie.
Tracy had an origin story to begin with, did he?
He's a detective. That's all you
yeah,
gotta know.
I think that in that comic strip, I don't think they really do go out of their
yeah,
way.
I don't know.
He wasn't bitten by a radioactive.
I don't know, but that's what's different. That's what's
detective.
but that's what's different about this too is that he wasn't bit by a radioactive detective. Like he doesn't really have an origin story. It just throws you into this world of
yeah,
like,
but do you need more backstory? You know what he is.
Well, it's a fantasy world, so it's I don't know. It's just kind of weird.
I think his pre-stories is that he used to have a little chimpanzee
Well,
named
you don't know.
George.
Well,
He
you-
used to run around
well,
with
there's
George.
there's so much backstory between.
And then he got a smaller hat, and then he became Dick Tracy.
There's so much backstory between him and what's her name, Tess.
Tess, yeah.
There's a lot of backstory between him and Tess that you get hints of throughout the
Yeah.
movie. So there's origin there. You kind of just are thrown into their relationship and expected to know that like he has a commitment fear through his little brief dialogues that he gives.
How did you not get that from the film?
No, I'm saying you're supposed to get
You're saying you're supposed to, so you're insinuating that you didn't get it.
you get in small. I'm saying you can get better than they give it.
I don't know.
I
I
think
think
they
they
did
gave quite a bit.
Yeah.
That if there's any,
But there's no origin to it. You're just supposed to
no, but if there's any relationship,
to know that okay. They obviously are going through this hard time, and they've been going through this for a while. Because at the end of it, it's like, oh, they finally got together. Well, how do you know they finally got? This could have been going on for 5 minutes before the fucking movie started. You don't know. There ain't no background to it.
Yeah, but the way the characters act and the way that their back and forth implies that it's something that she's like, yeah, I know. He's not a committal type. Yeah,
And what do you
yeah.
do when you assume, Kyle?
She doesn't mind living alone. She says that a bunch.
Which she does mind living alone.
Yeah, she's speaking in like weird.
Well, she wants him to. She wants him to commit to her because
but she knows she can't force him to.
No, she's my favorite character in the movie. I don't want to knock any. Like she's my favorite character in the whole movie. I thought she was the most genuine, played movie character in this film.
Their relationship is the only relationship
movie character played in this film.
That's right, Kyle.
Thank you. No, their relationship is the one I feel like the one strong point in this because I don't buy. The one negative I have to say about this film is I don't buy Breathless's relationship with Dick Tracy. I don't understand what her motivation is, why she would risk her entire master plan. No, she's definitely not using him because she literally sacrifices her entire master plan because she's into some guy that literally walked into the club one day.
I'm with Mike. I think that there was something about Breathless, like something about Tracy that she really, really wanted. Like, but we didn't ever get explained to why him.
But I also feel like there's backstory to that we're not getting because I felt like their characters had met previously.
No,
before
I definitely did not get that.
No, not at all.
He walked into the room and she's like, "Holy shit!" And then that's it. That's the one thing you get.
Yeah, but he's stalking her ass too. I mean, like he knew who
she is.
Hangs her out the club when everybody leaves, and then he sneaks back into the room.
That's not true because how are you like pissing off the mob all this time? Even before this happened, he's a good cop. We know he's pissing off the mob and not know who Breathless is because she's obviously part of it. So he's a terrible detective. He's a terrible detective.
He wasn't focusing on Lips. He's always been focusing on Big Boy.
Everyone focuses on Lips.
He's been focusing on Big Boy. It seems like that's somebody he's been chasing his whole career. Lips is just another mob person that he doesn't even really need to bother.
Lips is Two-Face and.
So from Dick to Lips, who would you say is a better character?
Dick to Lips, the podcast where we review Dick Tracy every week.
Lips is gross, dude. I'm
eating that oysters.
I'm right there with Madonna. Like I can't watch you fucking eat, bro. Stop.
Yeah, it's really
makes
good.
me sick.
Oh yeah, didn't used to make you sick.
When did that ever turn her on? That's what I want to know.
She was looking for a job.
Yeah, when was that sexy for anyone? Yeah, exactly.
Ooh, I just got chills thinking about it.
No, thank you, Lips. Rapist.
That's why the makeup's great in this movie because it does kind of gross you out a little bit, like,
and it makes them all look even more evil.
Yeah,
menacing.
I don't know.
I agree.
Little Face wasn't that menacing looking.
He was fucking crazy looking.
Fuck.
Dude.
That was the scariest guy.
He looked like an egg with a face on it.
He's basically He's basically that flying eyeball
Humpty Dumpty.
from Big Trouble in Little China.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Kinda.
Yeah.
Does he have a name? I don't know.
I don't know what they call the flying eyeball thingy.
Flying eyeball mouth thingy.
Does anyone have any favorite quotes from this movie? I just want to see how memorable the lines were.
I just had one. The line where they're sitting at the diner, the little kid takes the money off the table, and Tess says, "Would you like a broken arm?" Like so nonchalant, and the power that it has over the kid to throw the money back on the table. I was like,
a great scene.
Cool.
So I don't like, and then he's like, I don't like dames.
She's got that maternal instinct.
I think he's better at directing other actors than he is directing himself.
My God, every chance he gets.
if you can take a stab,
every chance.
I'm just saying.
We're gonna be reviewing 5 movies from now. He's gonna bring up Warren Beatty for some reason.
How is that not a plus? He's a good director.
He's a good director.
That was a backhanded compliment. He's such a great director when it's not himself.
Yeah, when it's not himself. He's fantastic when it's not him directing him.
Mm-hmm. Good. That's nice. That's good.
What?
Nothing.
I love the Warren Beatty. He's fantastic. And
the Warren Beatty.
And he's great in that movie. Let's just go through how many Warren Beatty movies have we seen? Let's figure that out real quick. Dick Tracy.
You know what, dude? Honestly, when I think of Warren Beatty, I think Dick Tracy. That's it. Like that's how good he
Bullworth.
is. No, that's how good he is in this role. Is that he completely and totally owned this character?
I think more people would say Bullworth.
No,
because honestly,
Bonnie and Clyde.
Until you brought it up, I didn't know he was in Bullworth.
Bullworth was a big film.
That was a later film. This is like from childhood.
Yeah.
So we're talking about.
But it was because of that song with Maya in it and Boswell and shit.
You could say that this movie was huge because of the songs that Madonna did. Then.
No, I don't remember any of these.
None of these
being
were
big.
None of these songs like had a life of their own outside the film.
Yeah.
She used some of them in her tours to promote the film, but that's it.
All right, that's enough. I want them dead, both of them. I want this no-face dead, and I want Tracy dead. What's the matter? You bums forgot how to kill people? Doesn't your work mean anything to you anymore? Have you no sense of pride in what you do? No sense of duty? No sense of destiny? I'm looking for generals. What do I got? Foot soldiers. I want Dick Tracy dead.
All right, guys. So let's go ahead and rate this Mammer Jammer. What are we gonna rate it?
We are rating it walnuts.
Walnuts. Let's start with Chris's walnuts. Chris, how many walnuts are you gonna slap all over this film?
Well, I watched this movie about a month ago just for fun.
Yeah.
Just to revisit it and make sure make sure I still liked it.
Yeah.
I don't know why I keep checking in on it. I do. I do. Every now and again, I'm like, okay, I just got to make sure it's still good. Anyway, going back and watching it again, I wasn't disappointed. I love this film, actually. I love the style. I think Warren Beatty's a great Dick Tracy. In fact, he'll probably be the only Dick Tracy in my life that I ever give a shit about. And when I was a kid, I was like totally taken by definitely all the marketing stuff and wanting to see this film and like loving the villains. So I'm going to actually give this a 4.5. I'm going to give it a 4.5.
Wow.
I know that's like shocking.
Too high.
Hey, if
I haven't yelled in a long time about being too high.
I'm sorry. I don't know. I know some of it stems from nostalgia. That word comes up a lot on this show, but it does. But also the fact that I literally watched it a month ago and watched it again this time and liked it just the same, if not even a little more, going into like a conversation about it like this. So yeah, 4.5, and I'll probably I can't wait to show like my kids this film.
4.5.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we'll go to Mike next. Mike, beat 4.5.
I can't beat 4.5. I'll definitely go 3.5.
Thank you for being realistic. I appreciate your honesty.
It's of the generation of these type of comic book films that come out at this time. It's kind of average. It's better than like The Shadow. It's better than The Phantom. It's better than The Rocketeer, probably. It's not quite as good as Batman. But I have to give it an extra half a point over average, just simply because like the stylistic choice that he made in this. I really actually do think now watching this film again, it really does hold up. Like it's still a pretty solid film even to this day because they lo-fied it, because they made it like only 7 colors, because they work with scrims and stuff like that. That stuff is timeless. People are always going to remember those type of visuals. So yeah, 3.5 from me. 3.5 walnuts.
I will go next. I will give it 2.5 walnuts, right down the middle. I think technically it's sound is all get out, but I don't think it has any heart to the film. It's sterile, cold, and not enjoyable to me. I don't like it.
Wrong.
I thought for sure you were going down to like in the 1 range.
No. Technically, it's fucking dude. What can I knock technically on it? Honestly,
Everything you did during the episode.
what did I knock it on?
The choice of color, the way it was shot, the way the characterizations of the actors.
Maybe the first time around. No,
he learned his lesson.
We officially changed
that's
his
where
mind.
that's where it comes. No, that's where it becomes sterile is in the acting. The acting sucks. I'm sorry, it's fucking flat as all get out. Warren Beatty is flat as fuck. Madonna's flat as fuck. Everybody's flat as fuck in this movie. It's a flat ass movie. It's not exciting. I didn't get excited once. I never felt any peril for the characters. Is the set design great? Yep. Is it highlighted at all? No. Is the colors fun? No. Is it cool that they use 7 colors? Yes. But I mean,
sounds like a 1, dude.
Yeah, that just sounds like a fucking 1 right there.
It's a
but at 2.5 down the middle, you know.
Not, hey, because I'll give it its points on technical. Like it was shot beautifully. Like I can't knock it for a shot. The lighting is done very well.
Yeah.
The colors, even though it's 7 of them, is done very well. The set design is done very well. It's everything else I have a problem with. I don't enjoy the story. I don't think it's exciting. I think there's too many characters, too many villains. It's a 2.5. People will enjoy this movie, but there will also be people like me who are just like, why?
Sure about that.
Next up is Kyle.
Well, I'm going to give it a 4 and say the complete opposite of everything that Cody just said. This movie is fun. This movie has always been a movie that I've loved since I was a kid. I think the over-the-top characters, all the bad guys with their all unique looks and things is great. I think it's a little funny that how literal their names are in the movie. But you know what? That adds to its charm. The matte paintings, the stage design, the sets, they're gorgeous. The choice of color, if I had to knock it for anything, would be like maybe they didn't quite utilize the primary colors like they could have. Like they could have utilized red a lot more to kind of show dread or show that, pull more emotion out of the audience itself. But I think it's a great film. I think all the actors are totally on point. And I'm going to look forward to continuing to watch this movie as I get older, and I hope younger generations discover it. So 4 walnuts.
All right, guys, that is our show for this week. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave us a review. We'd appreciate that on iTunes if you could. I'd like to shout out some people who did leave us, like Rushmore309. Appreciate that, Rushmore. You're the best. Don't forget about Mr. Mike187.
Don't forget about him.
He left us, I think, a 3-star, but was honest, and that's okay. Yeah. I appreciate his honesty. That's cool. Fish, dude,
I believe it's
just letters.
Fizbdod Beji.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's what I got.
But thank you for leaving us a review. We really appreciate that. Andrea, the sales rep, you keep on selling, girl. You keep on selling whatever you're selling and the show. We appreciate you. I appreciate
Great
that.
Name.
J+5, you have been with us for a while now. Appreciate you leaving us a comment. And then iThor13. Thank you. Leave us a review on iTunes. It helps us out a lot, and we'll give you a shout out when we see it, and we're always looking.
You can also leave your reviews on the podcast app at Cult Film and Review.
You can follow Kyle Smith.
You can follow me on Instagram, cultfilm_Kyle.
You can follow Chris
cultfilm_Chris on Instagram.
I almost felt like I died on that one. You can follow Mike
at Mike Salustio on Twitter.
And you can follow me at VHS Collect on Instagram. That's our show for this week. Guys, remember, if you're going to join a cult, make sure they watch good movies. We'll see you next week.
Hey.